Welcome to this tutorial. Today we are going to perform structural 3D modeling in Revit. We are going to model this building that you see here. So we have the elements which we are going to model: the slabs, the columns, the pad footing, the beams, and we're also going to model a staircase. So we are going to move step by step for us to recreate this concrete frame in Revit. Okay, the first thing that I will do is I will close my previous windows in order for us to begin creating. Okay, so we are going to open our structural template in Revit. For us to do that, we go on new, we click new, and we look for the template that we want to use. In my case, my template is found in this folder called English, and the name of the template is a metric structural template. So it's actually this one here. Okay, this is a new project. Okay. The first thing that we want to do is we want to define the levels. In order for us to do that, we go to one of the elevations in order for us to see the levels there. Okay, we are going to change level 1 to GL. GL for ground level. Yes. FL1 for floor 1, FL1 for floor 1. Okay, we are going to add two more levels. We'll add one just on top of floor 1, and it has automatically named it as floor 2. Okay, we're going to change the height to 6,400 millimeters above GL, and we are also going to put another level for the foundations just below the ground level, and we can rename that to BOF. All right, yes, and the height is negative 1,500 below GL. We have set up our levels in Revit. The next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to set up our grids. So we can simply go on ground level here. For us to set up our grids, we go on architecture, click on grid, and we begin creating our grid. So we create the first grid here. I want to change this from a number to a letter. I can simply just click there, say A. All right, now I want to copy this to create the other grids. So I can simply highlight it, go on copy. I'm going to click this part on. I'm going to a constraint. So it means that I'll be able to copy in this axis and in this axis at right angles. Okay, so I can highlight again, copy. Okay, make sure that the multiple part is also ticked. Then you can just click there to begin your copy. So we have 1,850. Okay, 3,300. 2,150, 3,300, 1,850. All right, we've created our grids in this axis. So now we need to create grids which are going to be parallel to the x-axis. So we click on the grids again. Click there and there. We are going to name these as numbers from 1. So we do the same thing. Click, copy, make sure that these two tabs are checked. You can click there and you can begin to copy. The first distance is 2750. Okay, you drag your mouse 5150, drag your mouse 2200. Okay, there was a mistake on this one. You can simply delete it, copy, and move this side and click the number 2200. Okay, I have my 5 grids. I'm happy. I can simply just adjust these by clicking on those edges to just make them look better. And now I can go to my eastern view. I can just simply modify these by simply dragging on that node there. Okay, can just simply modify these to look appropriate. Okay, I have my levels like that, south. Okay, now we can begin to model our columns. We go to ground level. We're going to go on structure. We click on column. A column that we are going to use, it's a rectangular concrete column. So we are going to change this to find a rectangular concrete column, and the size of the column is going to be 200 by 300. So we are going to modify this column. We go on edit type, duplicate, and we change the name to the column name that we want, 200 by 300. Okay, so we have 200 there, and we have 300 there. So we've changed the dimensions of the breadth and the height. We click on OK. We have the column that we want. So firstly, we are going to place the columns on axis 5, then we go to axis 3, 2, and 1, just like that. So we can place our first column there. Now I want this column to just be on the edge there. So we'll simply highlight and go on move. We select that part and place it there. Okay, I'm simply going to copy this and populate these columns like this. All right, having done that, we're going to place columns on this axis. For us to do that, I'm going to copy that. Copy. Let me just copy it from the middle to the middle there. Now, I want the distance from this grid to that edge to be a 75. So I can simply go on annotate, aligned, check what that distance is. So we have 150. So I want that distance to be 75. So I can simply click there and change that to 75. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I can just copy this and just duplicate it on this. Before we continue to place the columns here and there, we want to check where these columns are being placed to see if they are being placed in the right place. So if we go on the 3D view there, we can see the columns, and if we go on any of the elevation, I go on the east elevation, I can see that the columns are placed as scatter columns from the ground floor to the bottom of the a foundation right where I want them to be. So I'm just going to continue to copy these columns and place them as I would want to place them. So I go there, I can just copy this from the middle and place it there. I want that column to be on the middle, just like that. So I can just copy and do the same on these intersections. Okay, for the next part, I'm also just going to copy again, okay, from there to there. Now I want the height from here to the edge of the column to be 75. So I'm simply going to go on annotate, aligned, measure that height. It's giving me 150, escape, click on the column, change that distance to 75. Okay, there should be something wrong because I'm failing to actually change the value. So I'm going to perform the task again. We go on aligned, click there, and click on the grid. Okay, now I can escape. Now I can select the column and change that to 75. Fine. I can just copy this and populate it as I would want to. I can populate it there, here, and there. So I have noticed that there is one grid that I have missed to place in this. So I will have to modify my grids for me to have exactly what I want to have. Okay, so I'm going to create a new grid from here to the top. So I'm simply going to copy this, copy, and the distance from here to the top is going to be 1500. Okay, so I have my new grid there where I'm going to place my other columns. Alright, so I can simply copy this. Okay, I can simply highlight, copy. I need to remove the constraint there, so I have to remove the constraint and then paste it there. Now I want this edge to be aligned with this edge of the grid, so I can simply just click AL, okay, AL on your keyboard. You'll see this command come to show that you want to align. Then you can simply click on the grid line and you click on the column and you have the column aligned there. So I'm simply going to copy this column from here to there. Okay, if we go in the 3D view, we are going to see that we have created our columns for the foundation. So the next thing that I want to do now is to place a slab right on top of these columns. This is going to be an architectural slab that is going to be on the ground level. So I'm going to have a slab right on this ground level here. Okay, so we go on GL for us to place our slab. Okay, we go on the architecture tab. We can simply click on the floor part here. Simply left click in order for us to bring the command for the slab. Now I want to put a 100mm slab, so I'm going to create a new thickness of a slab which I'm going to place there. So I simply go on edit type, duplicate. I will say this is a generic 100mm slab. Okay, then edit, to change the thickness of the slab to 100. Okay, apply. Okay, now we can begin to draw our slab. So we simply click there. Okay, then I want to draw the slab right on the edges. Okay, so I'm going to begin from here. So I want my slab on the ground floor to move like this. Okay, now here I want my slab to pass right on the edge of this column here, from somewhere on this corner. Okay, so I'm going to use the align tool. So we click AL, we click where we want to align this line to and click there. We have that line aligned. Click on escape to run away from the command, and we click there again for us to continue drawing this line where we have the slab. So I want the slab to pass right on the edge of this, so I can click AL, click that edge there. Okay, so I've finished drawing the peripherals of my slab, and now I can just click escape for me to run from this command and click on the check mark there for us to have our slab. If we go in the 3D view, we see that we have our slab there. I can just change the view from here to a shaded for us to see that we have our slab there. Okay, if we go to the eastern view, we can see that we have our columns and our slab. So the next thing that I want to do is that on floor one, I want to copy these elements to the next floor. Okay, so I'm going to copy these elements from the ground level to floor one. So I go on the ground level and I'm going to copy these elements. So the first thing that I do is I highlight from the left corner to the right bottom corner. Then I'll go on filter for me to only check mark what I want to copy. So I want to copy floors and columns. So I'll untick on dimensions if there are any. Apply. Okay, so I've highlighted only columns and slabs. So now I can go on copy here, and not this copy but this copy here. I can copy there. Then I can click on this drop down panel, go to aligned, click, and I'm going to align this to floor one. Okay, so if I go on the eastern view, I'm going to see that I have my slab there and my columns down there. Now for the slab on floor one, I want this slab to have a thickness of 150. So we are going to end. Another thing is that I want these columns to be from here up to somewhere down there. So I'll have to edit the columns and also edit the thickness of the slab. So for this slab, I'm just going to simply highlight it, and I'm going to define a new slab by simply by clicking on edit type. Then I go on duplicate, and I'm going to name this slab as a generic 150 millimeter slab. Okay, and now I can change the thickness, okay, to 150. Okay, if we click on apply, okay, we see that the size of the slab moves, it changes from 100 to 150. So the next step that I want to perform is I want these columns to move from there to down there. So if I can simply highlight everything here, I go on a filter, and I'm just going to choose columns. Okay, apply. So I have all the columns highlighted on this level. I'm simply going to remove the base offset. I'm simply going to remove it for the columns to begin from the ground level. So I click 0, sorry. So click there, click 0, and you see that the columns are actually, if we go on the 3D view here, we can see that the columns, they are actually beginning from the floor level on 1. Okay, so having placed our slab and our columns, we are going to place our beams on floor 1. Okay, so we can simply go to floor 1 on the structural plans here. Okay, so I want to place a rectangular beam. The breadth of the beam is 200 and the depth of the beam is 300. So I'll simply go on structure, beam. Okay, I'm going to find a rectangular beam that I'm going to modify. So 300 by 600, go on edit type. Okay, we are going to duplicate this to 200 by 300. Click on OK, and we say 200 by 300. So breadth is 200, height is 300, apply. Okay, I'm going to place the beams like this. So I want my beam to run from here to there. Okay, I have my beam placed. Okay, no, actually I want it to run to there, so I can simply drag on this node and let my beam run there. Okay, I can click on beam again. I want my next beam to run from here to there. Okay, my other beam from here to there. Okay, my next beam from here to there. Okay, my next beam from here to there. Okay, my next beam from here to there. Okay. Can simply drag this. Sorry. Can simply drag this to the end there. Okay, so if there is something that I'm going to change is I want this beam to be in the same line with the column. I'll click on AL, click on the edge of the column, and click on the edge of the beam, and we see that the beam moves to that position. And I want to do the same thing here. AL, click on the edge of the column, edge of the beam, beam moves to position. Okay, if we go on a 3D view, we'll see that we have placed the beams on the floor 1. Okay, now there is something that I want to edit on the slab, which we have created on floor 2. So I will simply go to the floor 2. I want to edit the slab that we have created on the top of floor 1. So we go to floor 1, we can just highlight the slab, then we go on edit boundary, and we go on this line here. I want this slab to have a corner on these edges like that. Okay, I can simply use this to split these lines. Okay, escape, remove. You can simply drag this there, simply drag this there. Okay, and like that I have my beams and my slab on the first floor, on floor 1. Now I'm going to go to the eastern view. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to use these elements on floor 1 to copy them to a floor 2. after which I can modify them on floor 2 for me to have what I want. So I can simply go to the floor 1, and I'm going to copy the elements on the floor 1. Okay, I can simply copy from here, copy to the clipboard, then I click on this drop down, align to the selected levels, I choose floor 2. Okay, so now if we go to our 3D view, we can see that we've copied all the elements from floor 1 to floor 2. If I come on my eastern view here, I see that my columns are not reaching what they have to reach here, so I'll have to remove that offset for them to be beginning from floor 1. So I'm simply going to highlight all these elements. I'll simply go on filter, and I'm only going to leave columns. I'll remove the floors and the framing. I'll click on apply. Okay, and I'm going to remove the base offset. I'm going to put it at 0. And now we can see that our columns are actually beginning from floor 1. If we go to the 3D view, we can see that we've placed our elements like that. Okay, and that's nice. The only thing that I'm going to modify further on floor 2 is that I'm going to make sure that these beams, they move all the way from here to there. This beam moves all the way from here to there. So I go on floor 2 on the plan views. I can simply highlight this beam and simply just drag it like that. Highlight this one on this node, drag it like that. Okay, if I go back to my 3D view, I have my elements. I have my columns, beams, and slabs. So I'm remaining with pad footings, and I'm also remaining with a staircase. All right, so firstly, we are going to place our pad footing. So for us to do that, we go on the bottom of the foundation. Okay, so we are going to place a structural footing. So it's an isolated footing, it's a pad footing. So we click on isolated there. The size of our footing is 1500 by 1500. So we are going to create a new footing from the old one we have here. So we go on edit type, duplicate. We are going to name this as 1500 by 1500 by 350, as our new thickness is going to be 350. Okay, I love this to be small letters. Okay, so I can simply change the foundation thickness from 450 to 350. I can simply change the width to 1500 and the length to 1500. Click on apply, and now I have my footing, which I'm going to place on the middle of each one of these columns. Okay. And just like that, we have placed all our footings. Oh, there's one more footing here. I can just simply copy this footing from the middle of the column and place it there. Okay, so now we have all the footings. If we go to a 3D view, we see that we have all the footings there. The next thing that we are going to do is that we are going to create a staircase that is going to run from the ground floor to the top floor. Okay, so I will simply go to the ground floor for me to create a staircase somewhere there, of which we are going to modify the final position later. So I will simply go on architecture. I'm going to click on stair. Okay, let's save this project now. Save. I'm simply going to save this on my desktop, and I'm going to say 3D structural model. Structural. Need to change that spelling. Okay, let me just type this again. Structural model. Okay. Okay, my model has been saved and now I'm going to choose a monolithic stair. Okay, if I go on edit type, I see that my maximum riser height. If I go on edit type, I see that my maximum riser height is 180, minimum tread depth is 280, minimum run width 1000. I'm just going to keep these like this for now. I can edit them later. So I can just click somewhere here. So I'm going to create nine risers first. Okay, so I have 9 risers created, 8 remaining. You can simply click on OK. Now I want to create a landing of 900 by 1000. I can simply just click on landing. Okay, and I can use this pen for me to create my landing. 900 just like that. I can edit the thickness of the landing later. For now I can just leave it like this. Go on run, and then I can continue with my run till I have 0 risers remaining. Okay, I've created my staircase. If we go to the 3D view, we'll see that the staircase that we've created is not visible. Therefore, we have to change our visibility graphics for us to be able to see this staircase. So we click on VG. On these tabs, we'll simply go on the first tab, model, categories, then we find our stair. Where is our stair? ST. Okay, we have our stairs there. If we click on apply, okay, we see that our staircase is now visible in the project. So if we go to the ground level, we see that we have our staircase. It is somewhere there. Okay, so if we go to floor 1, we'll see that we have our staircase there, but the fact that we have no opening here, so it's kind of clashing with so we are going to create an opening where we want this staircase to be. So I will simply highlight on the slab, and I'm just going to create a boundary line there. So I'm going to, if I can use a rectangle tool for me to create some form of a boundary. What I want is for the distance from this grid to that line to be 845. So I'll simply click on annotate aligned, then I'll click that part and that part. We said the distance is 114. Escape, click on the line, and I want this to be 845. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. I want this distance from here to there to be 1615. So I'll simply click on annotate, highlight, click there and there. I want this to be 1615. Okay, I can simply click OK. Now I can simply just nudge this to be in line with this opening. So I can use the arrow keys, the left arrow and the top arrow, okay, for me to align it. Another method that we can use to align this is by simply clicking AL, and we choose the edge. So we want this edge to be aligned with this edge, and you see that the staircase moves to that edge. We want this edge to be aligned with this edge. We see that the staircase moves like that. We'll have to create a section for us to see how the stair is actually going to sit on the floor. So we go on view, then we create on a section. Now let's change the side of the section to this side. Okay, let's open the section for us to view it. We see that there are a few things that we are going to modify here. We are going to modify this landing thickness from 300 to 150, and we also want to make sure that this actually reaches the top of the floor. So the first thing that we do is we highlight on the stair, edit stair. The first thing that we are going to do, we click this part, and on this option we are going to remove the end with riser. So we remove this option and we take that height back to 3000. So now we see that the stair is moving up to the top. Then now we can click on the landing and we can edit the thickness of the landing from 300 to 150, apply. Okay, so I can simply click on the check mark. If we go back to our floor one, we can simply edit our staircase to be in line with the floor. I can simply click on AL, highlight this part and that part. If we go back to the section view, we can see that our staircase is right how we want it to be. If I go on the 3D view, we can see that we've modeled our building, we've modeled our slabs, our beams, columns, staircase and pad footing.